live now. Hello, everybody. How is it going? There we go. Thank you for your patience. There we go. That is correct. The great cult. The cult of the Tam. Already. Where does it? Exactly. Perfect. Today is going to be slightly different. Tomorrow is Ari's birthday, which is awesome. And I have been feeling a little under the weather lately, so instead of doing follower raffles today, I'm going to do birthday gifts for Ari. So I apologize for not being able to do doodle raffles today, but I'll be back next time. Woohoo! Yep. All right. Stickers. All right. I'm switching us to live. Boop. There you go. Ari has a little party hat on today. Yeah. Oh, hey! Thank you, Scott. Thank you for the raid. Hello, everybody. Welcome just in time. We are talking about world building today. Ah. Oh, you are quiet, apparently. Let me bump you up. I think I turned you down last time. Yeah, I hear you just fine, so it's some setup on my end. So, can you guys hear Ari better now? Woohoo! Still quiet. Okay. Let me... Always fun to do this stuff. Talk again real fast, Ari? So I can make... Oh, wait. I know why. I know why. I forgot to set your output device to the correct thing.
Oh no! I should be much more hearable now.
There you go. Now people can hear you.
Hello, everyone. It's me.
Unfortunately, I need to...
Thank you so much, Scott.
Let's see. Settings...
By the way, there is one of these weeks I might take a break from Cult of the Lamb, specifically because I really want to play Phasmophobia on stream, just for
Ooh,
kicks.
nice.
And obviously, we wouldn't need to do any special things for in terms of we'll just put our default characters on. I just want to play it once. It's so fun and spooky,
Yeah.
and I want to do talking about horror in storytelling in honor of Halloween really bad. I'm a big horror fan, and I think it's great to integrate horror elements into your non-horror stories.
Yeah,
and how do you do it?
agreed.
How do you do it in cool ways? So, would love to do a spooky special episode soon. Anyway, y'all. Well, thank you. Alright, my friends, let's dive in to Cult of the Tam.
I have great regrets that because I forgot to set up the cable for your audio, it is now locked so that your audio is going out to my speakers and not my headset.
Is there a way you can fix that while I set up here?
The only way I can fix it is by turning off the stream by restarting OBS.
Oh no!
I
Is that
know.
something you think would be worth doing? Is it troublesome enough if you think it'd be worth doing? You can do it if it's trouble.
Uh, yeah, I might need to.
Sounds good.
Um,
I will wait. I will wait here while Caitlin restarts OBS, but there will be no law. I won't do anything.
all right, I'll be back, guys. 1 second. All
Wonderful.
right, I can hear you now.
Yeah. Good, good, good.
All right, let me add this to. Let's see. Okay.
Sitting here, listening to Wubs Loves Base Villager say, mom, 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 mom. I haven't touched A. He's just talking.
Oh yeah, I forgot to remind you to use those Steam codes so that you can use the extra followers too.
I can do that very quickly. Just while you start, we'll start talking about world building. It'll take no more than a second to do anyway.
That works. Hey, so, hooray, world building.
World building indeed. Let's talk about it. It's been a while. Been a long time coming.
I know, right? A lot of people were asking about world building, and I believe explicitly, where does the poop go? So I guess I'll follow up that question with while I was doing hibbity, while I was doing prep work for making Tamberlane's world, I spent a lot of time reading and watching documentaries and anything I could get my hands on for essentially how things came about in society from like basic principles. So there's this great documentary series that was on Netflix that was perfect for this, that would take a topic and would kind of follow from the very beginning of where that topic's inception was. Unfortunately, I don't remember what it's called, but I do remember one of the episodes was called Clean, and it talked all about the like implementation of sewage systems and like the evolution of treatment and keeping things clean and germ theory and stuff like that. So that was how I determined where the poop went. Is kind
I
of
love it.
trying to figure out from first principles how would a society like this evolve in such a way, and with what tools they have, what do they do?
Yeah. Also, I will ask two things. One, can you share the screen to me so I can see what the streams looks like? It's always helpful me to kind of know what, like what's showing up. Also, can you all see the game? Okay.
I can at least. Beep.
I can give you my far less satisfying answer for where the poop goes. I do, Scott. I'm actually gonna switch over to. I'm tragically going to switch over to hard because the attempt to do brutal was distracting enough that it was interfering with my ability to share my thoughts because it's actually a little too hard for me, a little too difficult. Also, Scott, to answer what was happening mystery from last time, it does turn out that the PC version, no joke, the PC version is impossible to play the PC version with Switch controls accurately represented. They're not. It's not possible. I play on a Switch and I play on the PC. I checked every setting, including other control options. I researched it online. There's been many complaints about it. I've been playing it with completely different controls on the Switch. This might be why you might occasionally see me get confused because like everything's reversed. But that's fine. I am doing pretty good, and at the end of the day, it's just buttons I press. Doesn't really matter which ones they are. Yeah, I'm not sure why they didn't fix that. Anyway, looks like Wubs Loves Base has got something to say. A cold wind blows. The dead are near. I hear them whispering. Perform a blood moon ritual so we might see the rest of spirits. All right, bro. Sounds good. Give a gift. Can I do that? I don't think I have any. Yeah, a blessing. It's not a gift, but it's a gift from me emotionally. I answer to where does the poop go? I just kind of say they poop somewhere. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
In Mythorial, for example, I don't think about where they poop. They probably have some sort of like outhouse system or something. But obviously that's kind of a metaphorical question. It's not literally always the case. When it comes to world building in general, my philosophy, I used to be the kind of guy who would write, okay, controls are reversed from my Switch game. Okay, I've got it all set up. I now remember the controls. They're not what I'm used to. X is Y is X, B is A, and A is B. That's okay. So confused.
Oh boy.
Oh, I definitely need to change that. Actually, I'm gonna go ahead. Okay, I'll try to live. I'm not going to, but on this setup, the button to roll and the button to attack are opposites, which is really, really difficult to utilize. Let me fix that quickly. Okay. What I was trying to say while I'm just dealing with all this, sorry about that, is I find that when you overthink your world building, sometimes it can hold back the storytelling you're trying to do.
Yes.
World building serve the story, not the other way around. There are a couple stories where you might see exceptions to that. For example, the Book of Malazan is a famous fantasy series where these two authors wanted to make an RPG system. They made this huge system with massive history, and then they were like, you know what, let's write a book series. And this both started writing book series within this massive world they built, and apparently the series is fantastic, and it's very, very expansive and very confusing and full of like hundreds of characters, and like every book takes place in a different like century, and it's ridiculously huge. But most stories aren't built like that. Most stories aren't, world building to the point of just like every detail is mapped out and then trying to force a story into it. Does that make sense? Because then you might sacrifice the integrity of the story you're trying to tell in favor of something else. My philosophy is do just enough.
Oh, your game sound isn't coming through.
I can fix that.
It was coming through before.
I know why. It's just I never I see why.
Okay, cool.
I'm just gonna refresh it. Okay. Then I go here. Share your camera.
You refreshed your PNG tuber away.
I noticed that this is a really I'm not super exhausted today and being clumsy. I'm just on top of my game in every respect, as you can plainly see.
Bro, the week I've had, you are in good company.
Just kind of like my brain's just like, goodbye.
Bye.
Let's talk about the most complicated aspect of storytelling, building your universe. Hey guys, I don't know where the poop goes. So far I've nailed it. Hide. I'm going to stop this. I'm going to refresh it.
You may post memes, Scott. Thank you for asking.
Especially if it means keeping people busy during this period.
There was there's a story reason that I had to do for why I had to figure out where the poop went. It has been mentioned in Tamberlane that, Abroad handles sewage treatment. And so that was a valid part of world building. But if I didn't have that world building as a reason, I wouldn't have given it any thought, because the more I spend on world building, the less likely I am to ever actually write a story.
Yeah, I saw a tweet about that. Okay, I don't know if you guys will. Something did definitely break.
Oops. We're doing great today.
I think I fixed it. I think with my clever smarts, I have fixed the problem. Let me know if that worked, guys.
I think I hear sound. Yeah, I hear sound now. Do you guys hear sound?
I think it is very important to me that I make it clear to people, we will talk about where the poop went. We're never going to hold back from showing you all the truth. Dodge roll should be A, so attack can be X. I can work with that. Okay. Wait, that didn't save. Ha! Alright. That'll work. That'll work well. I'll do that. No, not extra hard. I'm already being humiliating enough. Except as B! Except as B, not A! Okay. Alright, now I'm set. Okay, this'll work just fine. Okay, so let's talk about what your responsibilities in terms of world building, right?
Yeah.
World building it's important, right? Especially if you're doing like a fantasy story or whatever have you. But while world building is important, you don't want to allow it to become the point of what you're doing. That definitely this, especially how I'm doing. And this is probably the main barrier with Mythorial. I'll give an example. I was like, I'm gonna build the greatest political system. I'm gonna build like a massive. I had like a whole system with like different forms of government, and percentages of vote. I built this whole massive government system in Mythorial. I haven't looked at it once. Maybe it'll be kind of a cool factoid that I can throw in some dialogue. It's useless. It's useless. I spent so much time on it. And then in Volume 3, where Mythorial finally... Cause I've written 4 volumes of it so far. And Volume 3 is where I think it really picks up. It from not that Volume 2 and 1 aren't great, but Volume 3 to me is where I was like, oh, I see where this is going. It was also the volume where I'm like, they're in the freaking woods. They're just in the woods. They're just going through the woods. Where? The woods.
You know,
like
the most politically active part.
The place where they're in the gushing woods. Let me turn this down a little bit. So that's my piece of advice to people is when you're building your story, focus more on write the world to serve the story you're trying to tell. Don't write the story to fill the world you've made. And that's not to say that world building can't be amazingly fun. I mean, J.R.R. Tolkien, let's be honest, he wrote Lord of the Rings as an excuse to make his languages. It can happen.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it can't, but he also wrote the thing, you know? And I think like that's the key is like it's not that world building is bad or that you can't make amazing worlds for a story. It's that people often will unintentionally use world building as like a unintentional delay tactic to getting to the story, which is very intimidating. Let's be real. Writing a story is intimidating.
Yep.
And it's easier to be like, well, I have to figure it's easy to tell yourself once I figure out like all the countries in this fantasy world, then the story will be a lot easier. It isn't.
Nope.
Trust me, it's not. It makes it harder sometimes because you are overthinking how do I make sure that what I'm writing is like accurate to my world. Like just write. Honestly, storytelling is a lot of his vibes, man. And
it is.
That
I said it is. It is.
But that isn't to say that world building is important, because otherwise it would be the point of this conversation, right?
Yeah, right.
Oh, shoot, y'all. It's time.
Yeah, you gotta just figure out what's... Exactly, yeah. I like to start writing, make everything up as you go along. That's what editing is for. Like, you can go through and figure out what is important to you and important to the story to be told. You can figure out the bare minimum of that stuff and then go through and fix more later, or you find out more from your story as you write it, and then you go through in the editing process and you're like, okay, now I can foreshadow that better, or I can weave that world building detail in here that would make this part so much better, etc., etc. Ari frequently has to take me aside and be like, okay, we need to actually do this world building now. And I'm like, no, let's just wave our hands. And he's like, no, this is becoming important. I'm like, no.
I didn't want to take double damage, but apparently I'm taking double damage, but also my enemies are... And health is halved. I don't know how useful that's going to be. Yeah, I'm not going to die very quickly. Anyway, I'm actually managing okay. Yeah, that's also something that I have faced as well, is the... And I'm weird because I'm actually someone who likes world building. I'm not trying to be like a hypocrite and be like, oh, you know, don't ever world build. World building is bad. Like, world building is great. But world building is a tool to service what, like, I mean, I don't know, if you're trying to make a D&D book, right, then world building is great. You need it. You need to build up the universe. And when you're writing a fantasy or sci-fi story, for sure you have to have world building. The Expanse couldn't work if it didn't have a sense of the universe. Yeah. But it's also worth noting that I think in both the Expanse and in terms of the Expanse and in terms of Malazan, which are both famous examples of like very elaborate world building, right? They both, as far as I remember, started out as like role-playing game ideas.
Oh, nice.
And then it was kind of like, I'm pretty sure, I could tell you Malazan was, I'm pretty sure Expanse was as well. Don't quote me on that. I'm like 80% sure that it was originally meant to be a system. And whatever the case, what's kind of the benefit of that, right? Is by starting with a sense of like, okay, here's where I'm going with this. I like this better. You let's go here. Let's go here. Oh, look at this. This is so cute. All right, guys. I mean, I'm clearly thinking the meat. I mean, meat is nutritious.
Meat good. Harry Deer says, world building I feel is good for creating information nuggets that people can infer more information from. And I agree.
I'll hit the snail next time. I'm sure does something useful. Yeah, that's 100% true. Like, and
Cassini also says, world building can be great for portraying themes. Agreed.
100%. Yeah, I think this is one thing. Is like world building. I think one of the main lessons that can come from any time. Like, I think it's something that I've learned from like all the interviews I've watched and classes I've seen online about writing. Consistently, what I have found to be true, and what I have tried to utilize in my work as well, is just that everything you do should be in service to the end goal, which is the story you are trying to tell. If writing world building really helps you make your story more clear, that's fine. Everyone's different. But you need to kind of decide why you're world building. If your reason for world building is that it's going to make the story richer, then do it. If your reason is that it's a distraction from the story, then be thoughtful about how you use it.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of like I don't ever want to be on a stream like this playing a game and only half able to like think about what I'm saying sometimes and just like be like, yeah, world building's bullshit. And everyone's like, well, okay, I'll never world build again. I'm like, oh, what have I done?
Oh, man.
Themes, baby. Yeah, I agree with that, Momo. But you'll often find that if you world build a vague sense of the world and a sense of the rules of what you're playing, if you work on the rules themselves more than you do on the logistics of everything, it's kind of like when I played D&D with my dungeon master and I asked them what they did when we went through the wrong door, and they were like, well, if I give you guys 2 doors and I say, go, which one do you choose? If I have something I really need behind one of them, I'll usually put it behind whichever door you pick, and it's just the illusion of choice. And I'm like, huh. Like, if you have something you really want in your story, don't say, well, it has to be in this city, so now if I don't put my characters in that city, well, you can just move it wherever you need it to be for the story. Wherever your characters happen to base your story a lot of times on what feels right for the characters, and the world can be morphed around the needs of the characters you have and the themes you're trying to tell. And a lot of times, you will be shocked at your ability to world build naturally when given the opportunity inside of a characterization or inside of a plot point, right? Whereas if you just try to create a world while sitting in your chair not thinking of anything, it's like in a vacuum, it's a lot harder.
It's so much harder. It's way better when you're actually bouncing off something and you have concrete stuff to work from.
I mean, I can say definitively, Caitlin and I didn't have like a solid sense of all the details about what a broad was when we sat down for meetings. We were like, okay, let's discuss where this goes, what that really means. Obviously, Caitlin had some ideas for it, but there was a lot of like logistics that just weren't there. And now that we're figuring the story out, they're kind of just coming out of it naturally. We're not having to think nearly as hard as we were before because we know what the story needs. You know what the story. What's in the city. What the story needs to be in the city.
Yeah, it's like, all right, let's say you've got John and Harry, and John and Harry are going on a grocery trip, but they get on the wrong train, and they wind up somewhere totally different. And you know that you want them to wind up in some, let's say, like, fairy world, right? And you're like, okay, well, I need to figure out everything I can about this fairy world.
Somehow I won this. What? Okay, alright, continue. Holy crap. I was in
Congrats.
I had a half heart. I don't know how I beat that. Alright, y'all, continue. I got my health back, but geez.
So yeah, you're like, oh, I have to figure out all about this fairy world so I can figure out like what's gonna how to build that out. But what really should happen is you're like, okay, well, John has a fear of abandonment. So there should probably be something in this fairy world that involves him like making some new connection that gets torn away from him, because that's how you grow in a story, is by doing terrible shit to your characters. And so that means that you need to have some mechanism for him to have this kind of connection. And then from there, you're like, oh, okay, maybe there's a Fey Lord who has been missing a servant. And then you're like, okay, well, that means Fey Lords have servants. What do Fey Lords do? What would be the most interesting? Well, he has an interest in flowers. John does. I don't remember if it was John or Harry. Also, hello, Harry. Apparently, I have stolen your afternoon. And it's like, oh, well, he loves flowers, so maybe he has a court of flowers, etc., etc., etc. And you kind of go down that route for like, what does the story need? How can I build this up? And I pulled that all out of my ass. So, like, that's just sort of the kind of thinking that one does when you're trying to world build in service of a story. Also, Ari, for your hug sticker, do you want to be the big spoon or the little spoon?
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, that's Switch energy. Shoot, I don't know, man. I don't know.
The answer is you are both spoons.
I'm both. I'm both. Please, the non-binariness of saying, "Can I be both?" All right. Okay. Most of the people that I hug have been smaller than me, just by general like vibes. I don't have that many big people in my life, and I'm not that small, so I guess I'll make you the big one.
Cool. Also,
I'll
is
get a
there
small one later.
a quality slider on your game capture on video that can drop the quality? Because it is lagging like
Lagging?
crazy.
You got it. Let me fix
Thank
that. No problem. I think I'm gonna have to do that through OBS.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. You do have to do it through OBS, I think.
I forget how to do this through OBS. I'm not very good with this. Scale filtering, null properties. Anyone know how to make your window smaller on OBS? I don't know how to. I'm a baby.
I don't remember. Well, for some reason, now it's working fine.
I did nothing, but I will accept it. Let me know if it happens again, or if it was just a weird, like maybe an internet borkiness.
Oh, now it's choppy again. Oh well, whatever.
Okay, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm just gonna make the game. I'm just gonna lower the resolution from 4K to 1080p.
Okay, there you go.
I don't think my stream is. I think my stream is probably graphics. Oh yeah, that'll do it.
The exciting behind the scenes of streaming.
Did that fix it?
I don't know. All I see is your pause. Yeah, it seems to have.
I absolutely heard that as PAWS, and I'm like, how are you seeing what? All I can see is your pause.
Your pause.
All right.
Okay, yeah, you're good.
Doctor. Heck yeah, baby.
So yeah,
All right.
World building in service of story, and story in service of character. That's the hierarchy.
I'm a big fan of feasting ritual. It's very useful when you're screwing up real bad and you need everyone to be happy really quick. Eat, my followers, eat! Eat!
So, alright, what else can we talk about world building here?
Uh-oh, I need 40 pumpkins to do the blood moon. And I've been asked to do the blood moon ritual. But I have no pumpkins. They're gonna hate me forever. Anyone know how to get pumpkins? What is happening? This is new. I'm a baby. I probably can plant.
Yeah, you have to plant them, I think.
But where do you get pumpkin seeds? What has this game done to me? Oh, everyone's starving. Fine, y'all. I'll make you some freaking food. So hungry, apparently. Just need to eat, I guess. Hearty meat and broth. Okay, let's do that. There we go. Eat, eat, eat. Alright, guys. I think it's time to bring a new member into the cult.
Yeah!
Let's make sure no one's pooped instantly. 'Cause
Okay.
They have a 50% chance. They have a 50% chance of pooping instantly.
If
No one pooped.
anybody is watching on mobile, you should make sure you watch from a browser and not the app, so that
Yeah.
you can do the follower raffle, which should show up on top of the stream itself once Ari hits the button.
Yeah, I'm waiting for everyone to let me know you're kind of all in the ready zone. Here we go. Start raffle. All right, everyone, take your time. While it's happening, I'm gonna say an answer to your question, Arya. Names. Names are weird. The secret to I think a lot of artists is that we just BS the name.
Yep.
I think that, like, for instance, the Glarkus in Mythorial was meant to be a placeholder name where I threw the first words out of my mouth and then I couldn't think of anything else, what stuck. Ackerley. Ava and Ackerley are names I'm particularly proud of. I like the way they sound. What happened was Ava, I basically looked up, like, women's names, and it was like, what is a, like, traditionally women's names, of course, and was like, what is a name that just kind of has a spunky feeling to it? And I was like, you know, Abigail's cool, blah, blah, blah. Ava. Oh, Ava. Ava's an interesting name. I like, but then Ackerley was harder. Ackerley, I'm like, okay, this mother frickin' goose needs a really interesting, kind of pretentious name. So I was like, let's look at classical British last names. And that's going to be his first name. That's all Ackerley. And I'm like, ooh.
I love that.
Ackerley, what a name. A lot of times, go with the emotion you're trying to do. I mean, you can always, of course, be very careful of not being, you know, just like appropriating another culture's name. But look into, like, names that have different meanings. That can be a helpful way. Like, what's a name? A lot of times these names have been picked out over hundreds of years by people with, like, pretty good sense of what the name meant. And it's like, okay, this name means someone who's spunky and, you know, happier. And this name is someone who is, this name means this. And then the names sound too. There's a thing called the Tiff. Anyone here heard of the Tiffany problem?
Yes.
Yes, where Tiffany is a name from the 1700s. But if you put your character named Tiffany in a Middle Ages story, people will think you're ridiculous. Some names just have a modern vibe. It's a modern vibe to them. And you can spell your names differently, change the vowels. Sometimes I like to take a name and then like alter the vowel of it. That's also a couple of my names. It's more sound than it is, like, for instance, like what the magical city in Mythorial was like. What's a magical sounding name? Something with a lot of kind of Jean Lee. And I would put some sounds together for the kind of down hometown, like it's a trading post. I was like something with a lot of consonants. Sutton, just.
I like
and then
that.
I was like, so that's kind of how a lot of times Mosswood. I wanted a very homey, safe feeling place. I thought, you know, Mosswood. This sounds just like the safest plant. Plants are using plants is a great way to go for like nostalgic places. Consonants are great for cities that are more like industrialized, and magical places, vowels are great. And I can hold up with characters too. Like, you know, names, a mysterious character, more vowels in the name can help the place or the person sound more mysterious and almost ethereal, maybe. So a lot of naming is often start from a place of what the vibe is, or what the emotion you want the name to come across as. Look into real world names. If you're not liking them, try last names, because last names are a great cheat code. If that doesn't work, sound and vibes, or spelling things differently, right? That works for world names too. For example, all right, Art Universe, you have won. You are now welcome to the Cult of Tam.
Welcome. Now you may customize your little follower.
Go ahead and make him what you want. Yeah, a great example of that is, I wanted to have a word that's kind of like bastard, right? Or a word at least like someone would use when they're looking down on someone. And I didn't really like bastard, because bastard just, first off, I always thought the word bastard was kind of a weird, problematic word.
Yeah.
In some respects, what it means, kind of insulting it's insulting in a weird, specific way. I couldn't think of any swear words I wanted, and I was like, you know, I'm gonna make one, and I went with degrant. And degrant came from like degrade, and like peasant, and it's kind of like these kind of combined two words into degrant, and I just thought it sounded good, and I was like, oh, sometimes you just populate your world with words like that, and if you really are effective at it, you can, or practice a lot, you can make the name sound. You are faithless. How dare you? The Cult of the Tam is a beautiful place. Welcome, welcome, my friend. Now, I would love for you to get to work. Ooh. And that one of the tricks of combining words and getting vibes from words is, for example, with Degrant. I can write the word Degrant in the story, and even though it's not a real word, it kind of sounds like it's a real word. So it sounds like, yo, you Degrant. You're like, okay, I get what they're doing. They're insulting him in some way. And then you don't have to like have a character explain what the word means, which is what never fun when it's like, I don't understand, Ackley. What did you mean when you said blah blah? Oh, that word means this. You know, that kind of thing. It's nice when the word has the vibe and you immediately know what they're trying to say. Okay, you know what? I don't think anyone's gonna die super soon. I'll get that later when my people start getting old. Prison, no one's caused me trouble yet. Offering statue, we're probably fine. I can upgrade that soon. Lumberyard, missionary, scarecrow. Let's go for a lumberyard. Having wood and stone is just a nice, useful thing. It's not flashy, it ain't exciting, but it's useful. Where is the outhouse? Is that up here? Oh, yeah.
Yep.
We got some work to do, y'all.
Keep going before you can get a shitter. Yeah, for names in Tamberlane, I mean, a lot of all the place names are interesting.
Yay, thank you all.
A lot of them are obviously like Tree Hollow and Silver Sage and stuff like that are effectively translated, quote unquote, into English. But because everyone in this story is speaking Growl, which is their native language of that area. But there are lots of foreign places on the map I made that are in other versions of Growl or other dialects of Growl. And in order to put together words for Growl, I basically... the idea is Growl sounds like animal sounds, like a combination of all different animal sounds. And so I would think about what sort of country or place is inspiring that area. Then I'd go into the language and look up their words for animal sounds, and then kind of smush them together until something sounds good. So, Ruchiri is, which I think is Ruchirik, is how I ended up with it. I
Josh
changed
Hughes
some stuff.
gifted a
Hey,
tier
thank
1
you for
sub to
gifting a sub, Josh T.
Thank you.
Hughes.
I'm trying to figure out how to get pumpkins, by the way. If you're wondering why I'm sitting here, I don't understand how to get pumpkins.
But yeah, Ruchiri was a combination of, I think, Ru was the sound for dog bark, and Chiri was the sound of a bird chirp. Both of those in Russian, if I recall. And if it's not exact, that's fine. The idea is, as Ari said, to find vibes. And so, like, Japan is Nawan, which, one, is close to Nihon, but two, also is a truncation of Nyan for cat and Wan for dog. So that's how a lot of the names came together for that in Growl. When it came to actually naming characters, I have such a hard time naming characters. It has to be the exact right name, or I will hate the character for the rest of time.
No.
So I spend a lot of time figuring out the exact right names for characters. Then, on the other hand, you get stuff like what was the Hubba Grub, which was Tess and Walter's Bakery, which was a working name that I was never able to get rid of until Ari finally helped me get a much better name recently, like in the last month. So yeah.
Yeah, it was. I think. Yeah. This is another thing that kind of adds on to that, and I think it's something that is not just true when it comes to names. It is true of literally everything when it comes to world building, and it is a secret that no one wants to hear, but it is true. It's actually useful. as an audience member, you'll be like, wow, the amount of planning these people do is amazing. I think the example I'll give is Lost. Lost was a show that I dearly enjoyed watching. I had a fun time with it. It was a flawed show, but they did a lot of cool things with it. I remember being a fan of Lost in the early 2000s, mid 2000s, and people would be like, I don't know if you guys like on the Lostpedia would say during this scene, Locke is actually reading this philosophical book. In this book, this happens. This may be a hint that this is blah, 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 this character, blah, blah, blah. And everyone's like, oh my god, there's so much detail. Writers don't plan any of this. We just kind of assume the audience will read into everything.
Yep.
Nothing, I have to be honest, we love, adore, and cherish Tamberlane theories. You guys are often so much more clever than we are. Like, it's not like we're going like, oh yeah, that's exactly what we planned. It's more like, oh wow, yeah, yeah, that'd be cool, wouldn't it? Like,
quick, take notes.
Take notes. Audiences assume that a lot of like Breaking Bad. Like I mentioned this before, but Breaking Bad, the only season that wasn't written as it went along was season 2, and a lot of people think that what the heck card is this? Whoa, holographic.
Ooh.
Death Door, cool. So yeah, keep that in mind. That what you might think is incredible foresight is almost certainly just you leave yourself tools that are useful for later, and then once you need them, use them. Like a lot of what we put in stories are like we plant little seeds. We don't know what they're gonna grow into. We just know that they're seeds, and then later on, we're able to use whatever grows out of that to create. Like I'll like put we might say, okay, this character has a gun in their trunk, cool. And then later on, you're like, oh my god, there was a gun in the trunk, yes! And then later on, they're like, man, they put the gun in the trunk 3 seasons ago just for this. No, they didn't. They just put it in there because they thought it'd be cool to have one. So, planning is cool, but also think of world building and think of these things as like planting seeds for future to use more than as rule sets you need to follow or you're like a bad storyteller. The rules are just yours, right? Okay, I gotta take care of this guy. No. What did we decide to name the Hubba
The Bat and Badger.
Bat and Badger after their kids, which I think is very cute.
Yeah. I like that a lot.
It also makes me feel like what did they call it before? What did they call it before their daughter was born? Because they had Belfry, but they didn't call it the Bat.
Maybe it was the Hubba Grub.
Hubba Grub, and then it changed to Bat and Badger. Like we need a better name. Walter named it something in Russian, like it was a Russian word for bakery, but no one in town could pronounce it, so they just like all right. The Bat.
Xenophobic assholes.
The Badger and Bat. The Badger and I know, right? The Badger and Bat. It was named after.
It was about Tess.
Tess. But yes, no. I mean, you say xenophobic assholes. Yeah, I mean, this town is some of the most xenophobic assholes.
That is very true.
All right, please give me the goods.
Let's see. That's the sound of me trying to think. Let's see. Yeah, like trying to think of a seed. I mean, okay, for example, I guess the whole thing where Belfry wasn't gonna be adopted until the page where she's yelling at Tess and crying about like I won't leave this creature to parents that would abandon it. And I was like, oh hey, I bet she's adopted. And then, now that is spun into an actual like story hook. But at the time I was just like, oh yeah, that'll give some pathos. And now that has provided a hook, a seed.
Yeah, that's one of the most common things for sure is that just like oh, this would be really nice to play with. And if you look at a lot of stories in history that have like very famous moments, you'll often find. Okay, another example I will give from Breaking. Oh no! Please, I don't have much health left. Please don't do this to me, Leshy. We can talk about this. Be reasonable. You know what, Leshy? You are just a dick. No. Oh, let me focus on this for a second. I do not want to die right now.
I'll try to think of.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Okay.
I'll try to think of more world building things. Let's see.
Oh, okay.
when I was making Tamberlane, my whole deal with this comic was to be as just like do as minimal work as possible to get started.
Yeah.
And so I basically did very little world building. I got just enough to understand the underlying mechanics. And then I was like, I'll figure it out as we go.
Holy crap! I can't believe I lived. Oh, I lived.
Congrats.
Cassini, you should have believed. There was a person. InSim has a thing he does now on stream where he'll let players bet their channel points as believers or doubters and whether he'll live. And I really want to do it one day. Do you believe in me or do you doubt? How many channel points are you willing to bet?
Oh my gosh. I love that. Also,
So
Wolf, what was your question? Josh asks, in Tamerlane, what are some instances of inequality or class division? Well, I mean, in Tree Hollow, it's pretty classically, just small town, weirdness in that direction. They don't like people who come in. Sorry, Wolf. We are a little busy. If you wouldn't mind reposting your question so that we can see it again. But yeah, like they don't like people who are not part of their little community. They don't like people who don't quite fit in. And stuff. But there's not really a class division. Everybody in Tree Hollow works about the same amount. It's a very socialist town. Wolf, is witchcraft or paganism a thing in Tamerlane? It is.
And here's a fun
Ainsley.
example, by the way, that while in this case, Caitlyn already had thought of that with Ainsley, this could have been a situation where Caitlyn's like, is it? Yeah, okay, yeah, it is. You know what I mean? That's how role building works often, is like, you're presented with a question and you answer it. But in this case, Caitlyn happened to have already had an answer. But I thought it was an interesting point of like, if Caitlyn hadn't thought of witchcraft or paganism, this could have been an opportunity to build into it, right? Like, a lot of world building is like, heck yeah. But yes, in this case, it absolutely already is. Go ahead and share this.
Yeah, Ainsley is Wiccan. And in the what was, I don't remember the there was a short story that Ari wrote that had to do with Kerr running away to the temple, and there was a picture I drew for it that showed a bunch of little altars inside the town temple, because the town temple has a bunch of little altars in it to all sorts of different religions. And one of them is a druidry altar, because that's my religion, so I wanted to throw that in there. But yes, Ainsley is a Wiccan, yes.
And doubt not in Ainsley. Ainsley is one of my favorite characters in the story. I love Ainsley. Justice for Ainsley. They may be slightly cowardly sometimes, but you know what? Aren't we all?
Truth.
I also have a thing, to be honest, with for like wimpy characters who have to figure themselves out, like the Neville Longbottom, so to speak, of stories. I love that Anthony's very wimpy. I'm like, Anthony, I will die for you. You are my baby. You're a big boy. You will be okay. All right, guys. Here
if you look at Ainsley's character sheet, then there's you can see that there's a note on their sheet that mentions that they are pagan or Wiccan. I don't remember what I put, but I've always thought of them as Wiccan. And I haven't decided who's the druid or the witch. We'll find out, maybe. There's a seed. I put it there as an Easter egg for myself. But someday, maybe it'll come to fruition.
Oh, yeah. Like, has anyone had a situation where you've gotten excited about your world building and had a story come out of world building? I'm interested in like that, because I think there are people who are like, I think that's what happened with Malazan, right? They had a world they were building and they got excited about like what could happen here. do any of you, because like, world building in itself is an art form, right, on its own, and I'm curious if anyone here has had experience with like enjoying writing, enjoying world building on its own just for fun with, so as a solo activity. I think it's really cool.
Honestly, I think that is one of the biggest problems I had with War Torn for so long, was that I had this massively cool idea for a world, but I just could not nail down characters that I cared enough about to move forward with the story.
Yeah.
And I still love that world, and it's still not going to happen really in the same like our iteration of whatever War Torn is going to turn into is not going to have that world, essentially, because we've gone a totally different direction, and it's a great direction, and I love it. But I'm holding on to that world, and I'm just like, someday I'll have my Four Seasons continent. Give me my war.
Yes, I think. Oh yeah, Azure. I always had a huge admiration. By the way, Lechi's a pretty easy boss. I remember never having trouble with him. My other run, I didn't have trouble with him either. I feel like that's the thing too, is that like, like, I have a great admiration for short storytellers because I find short stories difficult.
Same.
I always get too invested in my characters to be able to do one-offs, but one-offs are so effective if you can do them right. It's a really cool art form. And it's like, sometimes, I mean, I don't know how many of you read Stephen King, but like, he had a short story collection named, what's it called? Night Shift. And Night Shift, it's a series of short stories he wrote. One of them is just vaguely about a couple of people on a beach, right? And they're hanging out. And it talks about how there's a virus is spreading around that is infecting a bunch of people, and it's causing like early signs of really big trouble. And the story is this really small story in this really troubled place. Then a couple years later, he wrote The Stand, which took place in the same universe, was this massive 1,000-page epic that also took place with the same virus. And we wrote the short story. He had zero intentions of writing The Stand, and just he got interested. And he's like, I want to write more about this. Give me the heart. Who is this guy following me? I love him.
Arya, I RP with my husband constantly, and we're always coming up with new worlds, new ideas, lots of lore and stuff, and I'm just like, I really need to use this in something. Like, this is really fun and awesome, but the ideas are so cool, I should do something with them, and then I never do.
It's part of why I love D&D so much, is it basically
right?
is like, I mean, it's like, there's a Brendan Lee Mulligan, who I know that Caitlin's also a big fan of, a wonderful DM. He was asked, like, I think it was him who talked about this, someone asked him how much planning you do with your... I mean, no, it was just him. A few DMs have said this. She might have said this too. That when you're writing your world, if you're like, I'm going to tell a story, just write a book.
Yeah.
World building in D&D is a group activity done by everyone together. And if you overplan your story, you'll get trapped. And if that's true, if over-planning your story can get you trapped in a group activity where your players are literally playing on your board game that you're basically making, then surely too much world building can be limiting when you're writing an actual story, right? Like, you think that world building would be very important to D&D, but it actually can be limiting.
It is. It's interesting. I'm in an interesting thing with that right now. Is that since I am DMing the Final Fantasy XIV story for some friends who won't be playing the game, I have the idea essentially that I'm taking the rough story structure and the rough beats.
Raffle started, by the way.
Yeah.
Also,
Raffle.
You get to be theoretically the boss follower. So have fun with
yeah.
who wins this one. And continue your thing.
But yeah, so I'm role playing, or I'm DMing a story that exists from beginning to end already, right? Which theoretically would be very static, but I trust myself to be nimble enough to let my players mold and change the story, and for me to upgrade the story and mold the world around them and their actions, so that essentially the skeleton of the story remains, but their choices still have, big impact and stuff. And it's interesting to balance that, to look at what is given, which is a lot of information. I have 2 thick encyclopedia books on my
All right,
shelf.
Wolf. Wolf, you've won. Go ahead and make
Yay!
your character.
Congratulations, Wolf. And it's theoretically the world building in the story should lock me in a cage. There's so much of it, but I have chosen to, really just use it as a rough guideline and try and both improve it and just let it be loose so my players can, do things that are impactful. Following up, Third Anguis. Yeah, I miss mushing too. I miss collaborative role playing. It takes up so much time, though. Momo, I am very excited to see all 12 chapters of Preeny and also all your other spin-offs in that world because it is such a precious world. Let's see, what else?
Preeny is marvelous.
Yeah, very, very good. Hey, Green Doggo. Hey, Tidal, welcome in.
Welcome, Wolf. Welcome to the Cult of the Dam.
I totally get it, Momo. I got into mushes pretty late in their lifetime, in the later 2000s. But
I've always wanted to try this. I've never done this before.
Oh, you're gonna pat the dog?
Pat the doggle. There you go. Hey.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love that you can pat the dog.
It's wonderful.
Tidal, you have missed a lot of technological issues. Boxful, a mush is a multi-user, and this is a backronym, a multi-user shared hallucination is what people have called it. It is basically before there were forums or chat programs, there was Telnet, where you dialed into a number or an IP address, essentially, and did text chat that way. And mushes are like a Discord server, where instead of channels, you have actual, rooms that you move your physical presence in between these little rooms. So you can navigate a map, for example, and you do roleplay there. Or if there's combat mechanics, then you can fight little NPCs and stuff. I don't know if Elle knows what Zork is. Zork is also not for baby. But yeah, it's a text adventure, but it's multiplayer. But yeah.
Build 3 decorations. You get 3 candles. Deal with it. My village is not going to be pretty. It's going to be functional. But you know what? I will not abuse my followers. I am what Jones claimed to be. I'm a benevolent leader.
I know, Third. I know.
Returned from the dead.
I feel you.
My first moment of truly feeling old, even though I'm not old, was really truly feeling it was when I was talking to my music student who I teach right now, who's 14, 15, and she was born in 2000, I think 8 or 9, and I mentioned Coldplay's "Rush of Blood to the Head" album, and I was like, wait, to you, how long ago does 2002 film? She's like, I mean, that's forever ago, and I was like that must be to what the 80s felt like to me. She's like, yeah, it was old days. I'm like, oh god. Oh god, 2002 was the old days. What the hell do I do? No! I'm officially 2002 is officially the old days to those kids. She even said that the 80s felt newer than 2002 because at least the 80s are being referenced in culture now. Where 2002
oh my god.
She was like, 2002 feels older than the 80s. I'm like, oh, soul left my body. All right, someone's doing the wood. I guess we'll go ahead and. I need more stone. I can't tell, Cassini, if you are ironically saying that or confronting the fact that I am saying 2002 was not that long ago. 2002 feels like yesterday. I can remember it clearly. And I was only in 2nd grade, but I can remember that clearly.
I was in
9.
high school in 2002.
I know, right? Well, I mean, oh gosh. Half joking. All right, just making sure. I was like, am I going to die tonight? I need more stone. You need stone to get stone. You know, the classic conundrum. All right, I'll react with a follower to read their mind. Oh, I have a new cult member. I forgot 2 of them, y'all.
Oh my god, y'all children, your babies. Ah.
So gross.
Listen to ya, elders. Gather around the fire as we talk to you about where the poop goes.
I find it funny that, like, Azor says, I wasn't born yet in 2002. Oh! 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 It's funny because let's be real. We're not old. 30s
No, we're
is
not.
old.
No.
40s is not old.
No.
50s is not old. 60s is getting close to being old. 70s is being old. 80s is being old. 90s is like, oh my god, you're old. 100 is like, bro, you're rad. What the hell? How'd you do that?
Yeah.
I had this thought that, like, when you're, like, really, really, really old, and, like, you know, you're, like, 106, there's still one way to get a Wikipedia page, and that's to be one of the longest living people ever, and it's pretty much the only, like, I'm about to be, like, 110, being like, if I can make 3 more years, I'll get a Wikipedia page about myself. I need to last 3 more years.
This shall be my legacy.
Yeah, my little brother, who is 10 years younger than me, to the day. His birthday's also tomorrow. We celebrate together.
Oh, nice.
All right, guys. I'm ending the raffles. Less people, but also, I mean, people have already become followers. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, someone squeezed in at the last second there. I saw you.
Oh,
Yeah.
L. Rigged.
Oh, you have won. Welcome to the Cult of the Tab. But yeah, my little brother was born in 2003. I think, yes. Because I was born in 1993, and it's 10 years difference. Same day. So I'm turning 29. He's turning 19. And when I went to Atlanta, which feels like literally yesterday, he was just entering high school, just leaving middle school. And so I'm like, yeah, my little brother. And I'm like, he's not little, he's 19. He's turning 19 this year. I can't do this. I can't be that guy who calls a 19-year-old brother my little bro. But it's happening. I didn't expect to be like...
Listen, all of my siblings are 12 years older than I am, 12 to 13 years older than me. So I'm always the baby.
Yeah, and this is the thing, guys. Like, I will never say age is nothing about a number, because age is a lot more than a number. But I will say that stupidity is ageless. You know what I'm saying? People will like say you're allowed to have your thoughts and your opinions, and there are adults who are dumb as fuck. You hit your late 20s and you realize that we're all just dumb, and we're all just trying our gosh dang best, and you never get the rule book of life. And yeah, just it is crazy to think that. I mean, it's relevant to talk about my birthday now. Like, I'm about to hit 30 in a year. In my early 20s, 30 felt like, oh my god, I'm gonna be 30. Now I'm 29 in like a few hours, and I'm like, oh, 30's like when the good stuff starts. I hope.
Yes.
Like 30 sound pretty cool.
30s are
Most of my
great. I
friends are
love
in
my
their
30s.
Oh, look at that. Oh, look at the bee. And it's so cute.
Puppy.
Yes, I am. I was born in October 28th, 1993, baby. Good year. I remember the 90s. I was little, but they were fun because I was little and I had no responsibilities. It was great.
Amen. So I guess when it comes to world building, think about ages of your characters and the spread of mortality. I don't know. I'm linking it back to the discussion.
No, actually, great point. Because let's talk about the age thing with Tamberlane, where you decided to be really fun to make ages not ages.
Oh my god. So okay, there's a lot of things in Tamberlane where I was like, this is going to be awesome world building, and then it either doesn't serve the story and therefore never comes up, or it becomes an active detriment to the story because I can't figure out a way to explain it without capital E explaining it. So one of those is that I decided early on that animals age differently than humans do. And because, we say things like, oh, yes, he's 25 in dog years, right? And so I wanted to kind of take that accelerated aging slash maturing that happens in animals due to having shorter lifespans and put that on these anthropomorphic critters, but like still extend it out so it's more like a truncated human lifespan. So like once you get up to your like 60s in terms of years, you're in your like 80s or 90s in human years, that kind of thing. Well,
Oh yeah.
there's a problem with that. And the problem that Ari and I realized when we sat down was okay, so the equivalent of 18 years in emotional maturity is 14. And that's a little young. And so we had to.
I mean, that Milo and Briar would be totally fine in that logic, and we were like,
Yeah, we're like, I'm.
confusing.
So
Everyone's
Ari
eating.
had.
No, you're eating. Look at you go. Everyone's eating food.
Woohoo! So Ari had the.
El made it just in time for dinner.
Just in time. So Ari made the great decision of like, how about how human brains don't finish developing really, so to speak, until you're like 25.
Yep.
So then let's say that is when they are considered an adult in animal society, is when they've hit that maximum brain maturity. I say maximum as if you don't continue to mature and grow after 25, but you get what I mean. And that put them squarely at 18, and I was like, yes, hits both sides, we're fine. Okay, everything's fine, we're good. But it was definitely, like, it's something that we do have plans to make explicit in the comic and to bring it up and discuss it, but until then, it's also had these really far-reaching consequences where we're like, cool, as the story progresses and characters get older, all of Tamberlane's friends are growing up faster than she is and maturing faster than she is. Man, that fucking sucks. And there's other things like I had this idea of like there's different classes of heights for animals of like, you've got, because I wanted it so that there was a greater range of heights to pull from, so there's kind of more of a diverse set of body shapes and proportions I can play with. And so you have some who are really short, like Rodentia, and then some who can be really tall, like Ursine, but then there's like a range per each kind of species because not every human is 5'11" or whatever, right? And so, but my lack of actually sitting down to do character design before I put a character on the page has caught up to me, and very few characters are outside of a very median, like 5 foot to 6 foot range. Oops.
Sometimes not planning can bite you in the butt. It's true, but often the best way to handle that is to, work within your limitations, because limitations can actually lead to good storytelling too. Like, sometimes what you think is the best thing is not necessarily the best. I will also throw out there to Title's question earlier was, I would give the same answer to this that Brandon Sanderson gave when he was asked, how do you write a smart character? Right? Which is, you have time to think that the characters don't have. So when it comes to like propaganda, for instance, do research into like propaganda methods used by actual governments. So you don't have to look very far to find some good examples. And you can basically take those themes and craft something and then decide what information your characters have access to. And the same way, like, it's kind of like how Brandon Sanderson, the way he put it was, if you have a character as a genius, you don't need to be a genius. You just need to come up with a plan to get out of the situation. And it might take you like a few hours or like a few days to plan it out. Just have your character figure it out in like 10 seconds and they're a genius.
Yeah.
Like, when it comes to planning propaganda, complicated lore, just take more time and craft it and do research, and then it'll feel effortless to the characters. It'll feel effortless to your world because your audience isn't going to see the research time. You know.
And I would, if you are intentionally confusing lore, probably it is in your best interest to at some point show that it is wrong, unless you are just wanting to have your viewers 100% believe it is true and never question it.
Also, of course, I'm sure we're already going to do this considering the political themes and everything, but yeah, the fact that the lore is wrong is in itself a great plot point. You know, I play with that for sure. Let your characters' motivations potentially be coming from a misplaced sense of righteousness because they don't know. To answer your question, third, how about Caitlin answer this one?
She will get taller, but not that tall.
Ah,
She's probably going to end up in like the 5'4" range, 5'3",
Yeah.
something like that.
Yes. Y'all,
What?
pumpkin spice latte time.
Woo! Speaking
I
of,
really want to get pumpkins.
my husband had to go to a Halloween function at work today, and he was like, "Ugh, I gotta think of like some sort of costume to wear, but like, I really don't want to like wear a big costume or whatever, just something." And so I was just like, "Here, wear my witch hat and my Halloween apron, and you can go in and just be like, I'm my wife." And he's like, "Oh my god, yes, I will do this." And he's like, "I have to get a pumpkin spice latte on the way."
That's amazing. Also, I see you're a fellow person of culture. Pumpkin spice is fantastic.
Tis.
I'm kind of alone in this house and liking pumpkin spice for some reason.
How do you decide the way currency works in the world? Currency is confusing in Tamberlane because there is none. At least not in Tree Hollow. Tree Hollow is a work share socialist town where everybody kind of just works together to provide for everybody else, and so far it's worked well for them. Can't say for sure if it'll always work well for them. I'm not a city planner.
I'm sorry, Wolf. You are now starving, and I will fix this.
What's
I'm gonna
the
answer your
currency
question. I'm gonna. Oh, sorry.
what's the currency situation like in Mothoriel?
Things cost money. Gold pieces, copper pieces, baby. 6 copper for a kebab. I don't know. Here's the truth. Let me ask y'all a question. How does money work in any book you've ever read? Exactly. You don't know because readers don't know these things. We never do, and it's wonderful. The answer is, I mean, again, I absolutely hate with the bottom of my heart that Harry Potter is my go-to reference, and it's only because it was my first exposure to world building as a kid, which, when you look at it, is actually pretty shallow world building. But works well for what it's trying to do. The system of money in Harry Potter is completely broken. It makes no sense. None. 0 sense. It's like, galleons. Okay, I don't know. Gold. Okay. Is there a trading thing? Yeah. Okay. So Harry's like a millionaire? Yes. Okay. All right. Like, just understand that people questions like economy and politics, unless your story is based around that topic, no one's gonna care really all that much.
To answer your title, it's less that they use bits of metal for trading with outsiders necessarily, so much as metal itself is so scarce and so valuable that it
God,
is
right.
a
Maybe the
high
worst fight
value
ever,
barter
y'all.
good.
It's true. This fight is gonna suck major if you can look at what's happening right now. Look at my health. Look at the situation.
Oh boy.
I'm not gonna talk for this whole fight, and I'm gonna be okay. Well, damn it. All right. Anyway, I should have escaped while I had the chance. Please tell me I didn't lose too many pumpkins. That was all right. Everyone's gonna be very pissy at me because they're all starving, and I just lost. Watch how much everyone's gonna hate me. I love how Cult of the Tam pops up whenever I come back here. You know what, followers? Cook your own damn food, please. I need
Why
to be
isn't one of you a chef?
Fun fact: I absolutely can. I absolutely can get them. One of the most useful things in the game is making it so they like grassy gruel. So useful.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I love that. Let's see. Yeah, I think that probably, and don't quote me on this because we haven't nailed this down, and most likely it will change, but I have a feeling that bigger cities like Tangled Branch in Tamberlane might have more tendency towards a currency of some kind. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It makes sense to me, but I can't say
Oh,
whether or not it's going to be useful.
I've always
therefore-
assumed that. I always assumed that that they use currency in larger towns because you kind of have to at a certain point.
Yeah.
Especially with,
Once you no
like,
longer
trade
like
regulation.
trust, once you no longer have like first name basis trust with everybody you're trading with, you kind of have to have some sort of middleman like a currency.
Also, how do you barter in, like, how do you run a business or in a mass market, a potential multi-continental thing, or across the continent itself? How do you do that with trade very easy? Trading is really cool, but it is complicated.
Very, yeah. God, writing it has been terrible. Uh-oh, what?
I will accept the dissenting follower. I take them in, and now all I need to do is go get a prison.
There you go.
I have to lock them up. I'm sorry, but that is literally the only way to deal with prisoners in this game, and I'm not even saying that like in a jerk way. Literally, it's the only way to fix it. They're gonna be over in this corner where they can't talk to no one with their dirty, dirty influence. Oh man, whoever joins in here has a chance to be the follower goes to jail.
Woohoo!
Anyone excited to go to jail?
I'm constantly tempted to join the raffle.
Third, I'm the bastard who won't let them die. I keep reviving everybody. Everyone shall live forever if they're. I am what every other cult says they are.
Thou shall not have peace.
Thou shalt not die. All right. I need to plant more spaces. Oh no.
Doggo, doggo, doggo. I will wait to join the follower raffles until more people have gotten in and gotten their little follower in, because
Oh yeah.
I don't want to deprive you guys.
Yes, Caitlin.
Fun.
Now, keep in mind, if you join this one, you are potentially a dissenter. You will be a dissenter. You'll have to go to
true.
prison immediately. Who wants to be
Maybe
a
I should
bad,
join it
bad,
just
a
for
bad?
that.
Please do. Just try. You probably won't win, but if you do, it's very funny.
All right, let me get my Twitch up.
Who wants to be a bad, bad baby?
Twanch. Oh, come on. I'll let you know when I'm in.
All good.
Okay, I'm in.
All right, everyone. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh my God, Momo. Who's gonna be my terrible title? You are a gremlin.
Hooray! Grats, title. Go Descent.
Go directly to jail to not collect $200.
Man, my problem with world building is always that I might have like a seed of an idea, but I need to have compelling characters before I tell a story, which,
Yeah.
obviously. But I come up with world building ideas way easier than I come up with characters. And it's really hard to go from, oh man, this is a cool idea, to I can make a story out of this. So I just
I had
have
the
like
exact. Mhm.
I just have like seeds of stories everywhere, but nothing to do with them.
Welcome, welcome, title, you gremlin. Look at you. Look, wait, ready? Look how awful you're gonna look. Ah!
Thank you for the subscription, Chris.
Go to jail! Go to jail! Immediately! Get in, go! That's what you
Welcome
get.
to the true
That's
cult of the
what
Tam.
you get. Now, all we need to do is a little re-education. Just talking about how wonderful we are. There you go. Now,
So-
yes,
You were saying.
you were saying actually something. What were you saying? God, I was gonna follow up when you were saying it. Oh yeah, I'm the opposite.
Oh,
I
yeah?
find writing characters so easy that it's like comes like breathing, but writing worlds and like plot is like pulling teeth.
Once I have the character, I can write the plot easy. Well, I don't know if easy is really the word there, but I can write the plot. But I get like snippets of cool world shit, usually from other things I'm reading or watching, and then I'm like, oh man, I would have done it different. I would have done it this way. And then I go from there, and then I'm like, cool, now I need a character. And then I'm like, all right, which of my 3 characters am I recycling for this?
Yeah, I might have to steal you for some authorial world building help because I've been stuck for ages on certain things in there. Oh my gosh.
Hell yeah. Hit me up, bro.
Will do. All right, y'all. Let's get everyone back to work. Get back to work. This is the true goal. I'm in a grumpy mood because I have to imprison someone. I hate having to imprison someone. It makes me feel like a bad leader.
Look what you've made me do.
How can I reach these kids?
Let's see. Title says, can I also say it's really fun, semi-sarcasm type of fun, when you realize that the motives you thought of for 2 groups to fight are either way too petty for the setting or so fucking moronic in universe that it raises questions on how said group could even function? Oh boy! Ha ha ha! I don't have experience with that! Ha 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 ha! Ha! Yes, it is fun with a capital F.
And here's the most fun part. I'm sure you've all related to the feeling of you want to write stories that make sense. And the best way to do that is to pull from the world around you. But if you do it without being careful, people will think that you're writing to make a point about some political thing that maybe you're not, or make you.
Mm-hmm.
It's hard to write something that's interesting and real without being so real that maybe you're just stealing from life in a way that can put you in a place you didn't want to be. It's annoying.
Yep.
Oh, what's this? Hey,
Momo points out,
Yeah.
just look at real life. No thing is too petty that people justify to themselves as important. Truth.
that's true. All right, guys, it's time to play some Knucklebones. Gather
Wolf, you
round, my friends.
Wolf,
Knucklebones.
you should make an OC for Tamberlane. Do it.
Yes, do it. Ratao, roll your dice. 1. Heh. Don't give me that look. Also, I love my character's face when I do this. Watch him. Heh. It's adorable. Heh. Pathetic. I never lost this game, and I never will.
You don't have to have it in the comic to make it an OC.
It's true.
Plus, there's always the chance of events or
Future time out
something
there.
that would let you get in anyway. So I recommend you should do it for fun.
You should.
See ya, Momo. Have a good day.
Thank you so much for joining us.
Damn it. I can aim, I swear to God. Yeah. Fun is good.
Good is fun.
Good is fun. Fun is good. Good fun, good. Bro, my fucking brain is just melting into slush.
I know that feeling right now. Oh my god. I'm also potentially gonna lose my first game I've ever lost at this. And I've played this game so many times. Yes! Die!
There you go.
I'm sorry, I became a little unstable there. I cannot be made to lose this game. That would be atrocious.
Entirely irrelevant question to the story, but can we get any confirmation on if the Silver Sage people know Uranus and Neptune exist? Yes, they know Uranus and Neptune exist.
Well, I definitely know Uranus exists.
Wolf, yes, there is a fan characters channel. You should put it there in Foxglove.
My friends, I never lose. Yeah!
Congratulations.
It's a completely luck-based game. Ooh, a card. Yes, good. I do not want to wager some coin. I want to go home. Blah, blah, blah. I know. Say thank you. It's fine, bruh. No, mention it.
Yeah, if you ever want to, Third, just let me know. I think we have you on the block list because you didn't want it to keep bringing you in every month. So just let me know and we'll take you off. Whenever.
Yes, you should. Foxglove is a wonderful community.
Yep. Because Patreon is annoying by never letting you opt out. Ever. I am glad he looks like he has empty thoughts, Chris, because that is what I'm going for.
Oh my
Excellent.
god, I have been so talking about game, I forgot that stickers are being made, and I'm like, wait, wait! There are stickers! There are stickers!
Birthday doggo stickers.
Yeah, it's me. Happy birthday, me.
Alright.
I said this.
I was just gonna say I'm gonna take Third off the block list.
Yeah. I gotta tell y'all that for those who haven't heard, so my little brother and I have the same birthday, and the reason that's wonderful is that he and I get to do that thing where he'll say happy birthday, and I'll be like, you too, and we're like, yeah.
There we go. Revoked. Boop.
That is very cute. I'm so happy with that already. Oh my god, it's me. That's my energy, y'all.
Is doggo.
Okay, the dumb I hope to achieve in my life.
Also, hell yeah, baby pics. Let's see. World building. World building. Building worlds?
Yes. Here's a fun question, Caitlin. What is your favorite fictitious universe that you've read or watched or whatever, played, whatever it might be?
First thing that springs to mind is his Dark Materials. But digging deeper than that, so far I've been reading a lot of Brandon Sanderson books. He has a lot of really great world building. Specifically, I've read Mistborn eras 1 and 2, Warbreaker, and I've started the Stormlight Archives. Lots of great world building there. I also, obviously, I'm a fan of Warrior Cats. I think the world building is a lot better than the stories, and the writing, and the characterization. But it's a series where the potential is there, and that's what makes it so fun to read, is because you can imagine what it could have been.
And you can build your own world in it, yeah.
Likewise, the Wings of Fire books, which are written by
I've never got
one of the... Yeah, it's written by one of the people who made up the Aaron Hunters for Warrior Cats.
That makes so much sense. Oh my god.
Right? Yeah. Very, very good books. I really, really enjoy those. Gosh, there's been some really good stuff that I've read semi-recently, but it's been long enough that now I can't remember. Bone Shard's Daughter has some good stuff, but I can't remember it well enough to tell you exactly what the world building was.
It's funny because for me, favorite world building definitely is a distinct thing from world I'd want to live in.
Oh God, for sure.
Like, his Dark Materials, God, I want a demon. God, I don't want to live in that world.
Yeah, yeah.
Horrible. I mean, then again, it is a multiverse. I can just live in my world again, but with that added.
That's true. That's true.
Taking the risk, y'all. I could have skipped it, but I'm gonna try to. Oh, oh no! Twitch chat is deciding my fate.
Oh. Wait.
Whatever you think is best, my friends.
There we
Yay! Let's go.
All right. What? Okay. So what
Wow,
about you?
y'all, really? Really?
What are?
I was like, I had the sweetest voice. I'm like, whatever you guys want. You're like, fuck you, dog. I was gonna give the followers a party tonight. Now they will starve.
Oh, yeah. So some of your favorite world building.
Oh boy. Let's see. I actually find that Mistborn is fascinating because world building in terms of the magic is amazing. The world building in terms of the world is actually quite indistinct.
Yeah, it's a
Like,
pretty like kind
there's
of
a city and
world.
there's a city, and a mountain, but it's like, is there a continent outside this place? I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, right.
Like, I would say. Wow. Let me think about that for a second. His Dark Materials is always my immediate answer, but I want to also try to think of other books that I've read.
I know, right?
It's hard because the older I've gotten, the more I don't like the worlds I read about, and I'm like, I don't want to go in these worlds. These are terrible. Like Expanse is amazing, but God, what a terrible world or universe. Oh my God, I know, I already got it.
What's that?
I would desperately love to live in a universe of a small, the Long Way to a Small and Good Planet. This is a place that has lived through all this nonsense and now is and they're still dealing with trouble and there's still bad things happening in the universe, but like there's a lot of progress made and there's like a lot of like they've already made. Basically what happened was humanity was like dying out and they sent people off into space and like God we hope basically, and they happened by miracle to get spotted by a passing ship on their radar in like a 1 in a billion chance, and basically that connected them to the vast network of planets that all work together. And humans are a little bit low tech in comparison, and some aliens are kind of weird about it. But like they're kind of showing humans have been showing their spunk, and people are kind of other species are trying to appreciate them. The series has like non-binary aliens, like where their gender changes throughout their life cycle. It has like a lot of furry races, and it has a lot of cool like diverse takes on like it's a very progressive series about like really progressive ideas, and like the world is just really lush and interesting and cool, and like I really love the characters, and I'm like I would love to this like they go to a trading port and just like hang out with people and like trade stuff, and I'm like I want to just go hang out at that place, like hear stories from aliens. That sounds cool as hell, like because it is still our world. It's just our world as we've gotten past the BS, you know what I mean? Like that's kind of what I like. Star Trek's like that too, except Star Trek's people are all like human with like forehead ridges, so I don't know.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to think more. Oh,
I
also
didn't
there
lose
was
any health in your BS hard room, y'all.
nice. Also, hydrate was thingamajiggered, so I'm gonna drink. Let's see. Yes, the discussion of where the poop goes did occur at the beginning of the stream.
And the answer was more or less it goes wherever it needs to go. It's not in Tamberlane's case. They have like probably outhouses, and they use some like some degree of sewage.
Yeah, they have indoor plumbing.
Whereas Mithoriel, the answer is probably outhouses along with magically enhanced toilets. I don't know. Like, I don't think about it too much. The answer, my actual lesson that came from that question was just you can't overthink these things. You'll go crazy. The least fun answer, but okay, y'all. Just I get it, please. Oh yeah, really good axe. Here we go. Y'all, I wish. I know we can't, and I know why we can't, and it would be a dumb idea too. But I just imagine being like, all right, guys, Tree Hollow talk. We're talking about abroad, baby.
Oh God, right? That would be great. One day.
One day, because it's all in here, baby. It's all Gushin, Zion.
There we go. Alright. Let's see. Other things to talk about for world building. God, it's hard to think of anything that's not just like world build what's important for your story.
Well, world building sounds. I think what's the biggest lesson you can learn about world building is that it seems like the kind of thing that you would have hours and hours of discussion on. But a lot of the trick, it's a trick. Oh, shoot! I was doing so well. Dang it! Ah.
We just keep making you talk.
It's not that I think part of it is also like I've had a bit of bad luck with like not getting any blue hearts on my runs, and it's just very helpful to have a couple.
Yeah. On the subject of having to potentially rethink stuff, it's fun when you have to maybe rethink some stuff to explain other tiny things. You mean every single story meeting we have? Oh,
You would
yeah.
not believe how much. Oh, I'll fix your bed for you. Bro, I fixed it. Dumbass. Bro, not you, the patron. You're not dumb. Your character is dumb. Go to bed. I made your bed. Go sleep. Go take care of yourself. Just have a midnight sermon to make everyone mad. Midnight mass. Hey, you. How's it going? Hey, bro. Listen. Be reasonable.
Hey, Minty, welcome in.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Oh my God. It's time. You're free. Title. You understand me now. See, that wasn't so hard, was it? We're friends now. Do you want to sleep? Go sleep, bruh. I think there's a bed over here. There's a bed with your name on it, bruh. No, there's a bed with your name on it. Literally, I'll put your name on it right now.
Okay, one sticker down. Bunch of others sketched.
Oh, we got a new baby. Look at this baby.
Oh,
That is a very cute design. I will never, ever not be angry at the abomination that is the bird. I know it's a joke, but I get so mad every time. I hate it. Because I actually think birds are really cool. I love bird designs. And I was like, y'all, you didn't have to do this.
I love it because I like trolling.
That's a fair reason.
Okay.
You never need to sleep. All right, y'all. Time to join in. At this point, Kim, I think you're welcome to join because there's only often 6 entries in at this point.
Okay, cool. I'll join.
At some point, you might see the bird species in this game, and it has a beak. The mouth is. You see how the mouth is on the side on the designs, like on mine in the stream. That's where the mouth is. It's not even on the beak at all. The beak and the mouth are separate entities, and it is really bizarre looking. And they know it looks bad, and they kind of make fun of people for not liking it. And it's kind of funny, but also, man.
There. I have joined. Okay, in the last 15 minutes, as I work on one more of your stickers, which of the ones do you want? Do you want pun face, hug, write that down, or head pats?
Let's do write that down for our next meeting.
Sounds great.
I love write that down. I'm
That's
All
a
right.
fantastic one.
Anyone else want to join? You have 5 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Neo Voodoo. Neo Voodoo.
Yeah, Boodio.
I'm reading it as Neo Bood IOU, and I'm like,
Congratulations!
congratulations!
Oh, sounds like Ryan just got home. Woohoo!
All right, you go tend the farm. There are absolutely enough beds for my followers, you fools. So you're counting a bed for the character I literally said never has to sleep? Why? They don't have to sleep, you fool! Alright. I'm gonna give you a blessing. I should probably do this more. I've not been doing enough of the blessings. Let's do that.
Let's see. Gosh, really, anytime I want to do world building details, I will watch a whole bunch of stuff or read or just consume a lot of different media, especially media that is within the genre of what I'm working on. But it doesn't have to be.
Yeah.
I will go far and wide. Maybe I'll find things that have a similar feel but a different genre, or something that has a similar aesthetic but a different feel. Like basically, I'll pull from as many places as I can. I will look for little nuggets of ideas, especially in bad media. Because a lot of time, things that are bad movies or bad books or whatever have great ideas and execute them poorly.
Yeah.
And a lot of times I like to try and find things in that where I'm like, ooh, if I did this, I would do it differently. Because inevitably, when I marry it to 1,000 other ideas that I'm working with, it's going to be something totally different. I'm not
Yeah.
lifting something whole cloth, right?
Yeah,
And
100%.
and so like that's one way when I'm trying to think of ideas for world building. And the other thing would be like I basically have like a little mental chest of all of these little nuggets and that I have accumulated over the years. Like, oh man, it would be really cool if I had a world that did this, or a person that did this, or whatever. And eventually they'll make their way into a story. Sometimes, if it ever serves the story or what I'm trying to say. Excuse me. So, if you're ever trying to figure something out, I would start there. And
Yeah.
then you can also, of course, pull from real life. It's just, it tends to not. I tend to prefer things to be a little more. Fantastical isn't really the word, but real life is great to fall back on, but I like to have interesting ideas that really excite me, and real life doesn't tend to excite me that much.
Yeah. I actually think I would ask a question to the audience. What do you find is the thing when you think of stories you love? Sorry, my cat's walking my piano. Get off my piano, fool! Get that off of there. I know you're hungry. Go feed yourself.
For a moment, I
pause.
thought you were talking to a follower.
No, talking to my cat. But yeah, like, I'm curious, people in the audience, what your experience has been in terms of like, when do you have stories that like the world building itself was what drew you in, and if so, what made it work for you?
Yeah, I want to know that too.
Because for some people, I'm sure there's examples like, oh, it was the world. Like, a couple of, a lot of times it is the characters, but it'd be interesting to get a sense of like, I kind of got that with, The Expanse. I love The Expanse's world building. It's so good. If anyone wants to like a truly wonderful, fun sci-fi that lives 100% up to its hype. The Expanse does. Written by
And
co-authors also. I love co-authoring stuff. Co-authoring stuff is cool.
I will say that the world of His Dark Materials excites me more than the characters do.
Oh yeah, 100% true. The very idea of demons hits on something very... I don't even know how to describe it. Like it's a very... How would you describe what it is that makes it work so well?
It's very touches on a very visceral want.
On human
And
loneliness, really, right?
like yeah, human loneliness and wanting to have not only like this special heart companion, but also one that can at least to a certain age shapeshift and change and et cetera, et cetera. It's I think it hits all of those kind of childhood imagination things while hitting on very adult themes and feelings of like you said, loneliness.
Oh yeah, like there. Like I remember this one thing where I think it was when Lyra is talking to Will, who doesn't have a demon, and she's like, and he's just like, at first she's like, she's freaked out by him. Like, what the heck is this thing? Like, where's the other half of it? Because to her, a human and a demon is their soul personified in the form of an animal and being able to speak on its own, but it's still part of them. And later on, it both has a moment. I thought it was a really good moment in terms of character role building where she sees him and she's thinking, she has this pity, like, oh, how lonely he must be all the time. What does he do when he, like, to be by yourself? How can one even stand that at any moment? And meanwhile, he at one point looks at her and Pantaleimon, and he feels a sense of great longing and a sense of like, I wish this was me. And one of my favorite moments in the story is, God, I don't want to spoil. I don't know. Okay, I'm gonna say a thing. Anyone who doesn't want to hear a not a huge spoiler, but one of my favorite moments in all of storytelling, is, I'll say it now, is the moment when Pantaleimon sees Will crying and allows him to hold him.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And at this moment of like, at first it's like, what the hell are you doing? It's like it's such a vulnerable thing to do. It's like a soul, but it's like he's so goddamn lonely, and all I can do is be my companion. It's like such a, and like that's a moment of like how world building can lead to beautiful character moments that only work because the world nailed it. Like that is absolutely a thing. The world building is not that aspect isn't that complicated. It's this one idea that is very well executed. World building is not the same thing as complicated worlds, right? I think people like J.R.R. Tolkien to spend like 30 years slaving over a single world. World building basically just means constructing the playground you're going to play in. And that can be as detailed or as simple as you need it to be.
Let's see. Scrolling up. Let's see.
Yeah, go ahead and read some of the things people have said.
Yeah. Let's see. Title says, like to use my own stuff as an example, I have this one spacefaring group whose species is from a world that orbits a K-type star. Issue was that it was originally a rather Earth-like tropical planet, despite A, orbiting a weaker star, and B, having longer years than Earth. I could have just changed the star type and called it a day, but other setting stuff kinda needed said star to be a long-living one, so I had to change their homeworld's environment to being slightly colder than Earth. Yeah, that, I see what you mean about having to alter things like that.
Yeah, little things kind of have major consequences.
Arya says, it generally is as basic as the world building encompassing themes or subjects I enjoy, like a fun spin on mythology, like Greek or Egyptian. Yep. I find that I get the furthest in a story if it is full of things that are...
Thank you, chat, for making the enemies harder. I love you guys so much. Really needed that right now. It's my 4th time dying here. Alright, back to the drawing board. Actually, that's my last run for today. Since we're getting close to 8. So I'm going to go ahead and start winding down in time. But yeah, continue what you're saying.
Yeah. I find that for any story, for me to work on it, it doesn't matter what it is or what the concept is or anything. It has to be filled with essentially what one might call guilty pleasures for me to keep going and
Oh
actually
yeah.
accomplish a project. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing to be guilty about for that, in fact. That is just a fact of I'm writing something for myself most of the time. And if I make it something I really, really love, that shines through. Because let's see, yes, we were talking about Golden Compass slash Amber Spyglass slash The Subtle Knife. Very good series if people haven't read them. Highly
My favorite
recommend.
series ever written for
If
children. Not children, but it
same,
started as it. I mean, and
yeah,
for those who are interested in this, I mean, it's both potentially a trigger topic, but also a really cool thing. It is it is basically his anti-Narnia. It is a book that wears its atheism on its sleeves
oh
so
my god,
viscerally. I remember as a kid when I was like, raised in a really religious family, and I had my friend be like, "Oh yeah, God's the bad guy in this story," and I'm like, "Ah!" And then I read it, and I'm
you
like, "Ooh,
you want to know
oh
what's
boy."
really funny is that my critical reading skills as a kid, like I read very well, but my thinking about what I am reading is so bad that I did not catch on to the atheism until I was an adult.
Oh wow. Well, I think what's really
Yeah,
kind of crazy and wonderful about it is the fact that it's not about atheism in the way of like the let's say the really problematic, frustrating way of like, oh, people who are religious are all stupid,
yeah,
and
yeah.
but it sees faith and spirituality as these beautiful ideas that can be so easily corrupted by the wrong people, and that they have been. And it's
Yeah.
such a really cool way to talk about like the danger of blind faith, but also it's not demonizing people who believe. It's really,
Yeah.
it's very, he comes from a very empathetic place. I think Philip Pullman's a really cool
Yeah.
dude.
I like him.
And reading it as a religious teen actually was very impactful on me. And
That's
it's just
great.
also a great story. If you're a furry, it's got things for you too. It's got talking polar bears, and every character has a talking animal